All right, all right. Welcome back to another round of AMAs. Today's actually a special one. I recently kind of propositioned the community. I know you guys have had a lot of questions, and I made the proposition that if the community has questions and would like answers, I offered to uh, have anyone that was interested come on up for the community and kind of speak on their behalf. You guys definitely answered the call. We had a nice lengthy thread in the kind of the new DexFi channel, which is awesome. Maybe we can kind of go through some of that stuff as well. But again, the general idea was not necessarily to go right into the DAO stuff, but more, again, just to get kind of community engagement. As you guys know, I'm AMAs aren't my favorite thing in the world to do. I'm happy to talk. Honestly, one of my favorite things are talking about DexFi. So I always enjoy talking about it, but sometimes the AMAs get a little bit boring for me because there's just not a whole lot of engagement, not a lot of back and forth. So I'm really happy today we get to have a kind of a nice casual fireside chat with Biophonk. For those of you who don't know, has been with us for a couple years now. One of our oldest holders, one of our largest holders. He's not part of the team directly, but he does have obviously he has a stake in the business, and one of the community members. I really value his opinion, and I think this will be a great perspective for all of you to kind of get some of his ideas and hear him talk back and forth. So without further ado, here's Biophonk. Maybe you want to introduce yourself a little bit and talk about maybe a little bit of your background and what you want to get out of today's call.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jake. And I'm not sure how to take that. It's one of the oldest holders. Is that like
Yeah,
age reference? Yeah.
yeah. Well, I'm right up there with you. So
I know, right? Yeah. I think I have you beat just by a few years, but absolutely. Well, welcome everyone. Glad to be here. Jake, appreciate you letting me participate in the event tonight. Thank you very much. I have some questions, just like a lot of the folks that are online with us here tonight, and some of the folks who didn't. So hopefully I captured everyone's questions, and for the folks that couldn't be here, and we'll get those answered. And then we're definitely looking forward to community interaction tonight. So we hope everyone brought their A game and is not going to be bashful. So with that, my background is in high tech startups. So some folks may know that just from chatting with me over the course of the last couple of years. But I've been known to bring early stage software tech to market, and which is one of the things I love and value about the platform at Dex Finance, is because it sort of marries the next generation financial aspects, which is obviously fintech in blockchain, right? On-chain fintech. It marries that to interesting technology that excuse me, that Jake and the team have developed and is pretty unique. So that's why I'm here. That's why I stick around, and that's why I'm in this for the long haul personally. So, hey, Jake, I know we have decided to make this sort of a happy hour discussion as well. So things may get funny and lively as the night goes along, right? So, you want to share maybe what you're toasting, what you're drinking tonight, and then I will do the same.
Yeah, you beat me to the punch. If there was a slight change in the timing, we originally had to set this out to go live. I think like at midday or so,
Mm-hmm.
and Darren got back to me and said, "Hey, maybe let's do a happy hour instead." I know Tim bugs me all the time. Like anytime Tim finds out I'm out drinking, he starts firing the questions away because he knows I get a little loose lipped. So I have poured myself a nice large glass of Clase Azul tequila on ice on the rocks, and looking forward to dodging all your hot questions, man. I'm guessing you're drinking whiskey tonight
I'm
with that
drinking scotch.
profile pic. Oh, okay, Scott.
Yeah, I even emblazoned it, on the avatar here. So I'm drinking some Dalmore. In fact, that's the King Alexander III. So probably one of my favorite scotches. And so I'll raise a glass to you right now, and to everyone else that's on the call. Cheers, bro.
Yeah, here. I think this is a great. I'll toast to this AMA, but maybe you guys might have convinced me to do something a little more regularly. If we keep
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, man. Thanks, Gannon. What are you drinking over there, Gannon?
It's like some Catalan wine. It's made locally and pretty good.
Gannon always the responsible one, drinking the fine wine.
Absolutely. Sophistication.
Yeah. I mean, this is a good time too. For those of you who don't know Gannon, obviously, Gannon actually is part of the team. We brought Gannon on a couple of months back. You've seen him around. Kind of started with our role in CETO, and he's now handling support tickets and helping, with some of the social stuff and just all around kind of jack of all trades. So, I know. And maybe the Trade Talk or somewhere at some point, one of those channels, there was a discussion at one point about, people were had questions, let's say, about some people selling and if they were part of the team or not. So just to set the record straight on all that, our team is large in that we have we still have about 25 developers, full-time developers working, but outside of the actual dev team, myself and my CTO, Dex CTO, he stays fairly quiet, but he's around. And then Gannon is probably the only other guy on the actual payroll. So, just like I said, just to set the record straight, that's the official team. Obviously, we have a lot of community support and help. Guys like Biophonk and Tim and we love to have all those guys. It's really great. But this is the core team right here. Looking forward to getting through all the rest of these questions here. So, cheers once again. I appreciate you guys all coming. I think maybe before we jump into some questions, and we may also circle back to some of these because obviously kind of what I want to cover. Hopefully should be the same as what you guys want to hear. But I know, the last time, before I'd gone to Europe a couple months ago, and just before that, I put out a kind of the new roadmap, which was highly requested. So I think maybe before we jump in, I'd like to maybe just pull that up and kind of go through some of the major points. I'm not going to drill down too much because I think some of the follow-up questions might answer some of this stuff. But I think it's good to at least get some of the big stuff out of the way, give you guys an idea of where we're, what we're doing right now, where we're at with some of the things on the table, and the kind of stuff coming up. And then from there, we'll just jump into some of the questions and maybe just follow up, finish off with some kind of back and forth, some banter, and see where this goes. So
Let's do it.
Let me pull up my screen here. All right, you guys got my screen here. We're looking at the new roadmap.
You're good.
All right, so I guess
wait,
first,
hold on a second. I don't see it on the YouTube stream. Adarsh or Nubengir, do you guys see it?
Yeah, YouTube's usually lags a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
Let's make sure it comes up first. It's still not up there. Not yet. There it goes. Now we're in.
Yeah. Okay. So we're good. So let's just start from the beginning, right? So I guess let me first mention that, and I think this maybe kind of goes back to maybe some of the some of the general questions and concerns that we've the feedback that we've heard from the community. For the last 2 or 3 years, right? All we've done is build, and not just one thing. We built 10 things at one time, and ironically, over the years, I mean, obviously, as the CEO of this project, I need to make sure that one, that we're getting the stuff built that we need to build, but two, that we're able to keep functioning, that we have cash flow, that we're earning enough revenue to keep things alive. And part of the feedback, for better or for worse, over the years, was like, maybe stop doing everything, stop doing all this stuff, and focus on the things, the core products, right? Which is what we're really, really trying to do right now, right? This is what you see here. especially these first, 2 or 3 items, that is like literally 3 or 4 items even. Realistically, this is all I'm really trying to focus on. Obviously, some of the stuff towards the back half that we'll go through, is definitely on the table. Those are the next things I want to get into. But I really, I don't want to, I don't like being spread too thin, and I think we're finally at a point now where um, the core products are finally ready to kind of be released to the world. Um, with that said, though, it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because I know you guys have been used to over the last 3 years. You're used to us putting out like a new release every 2 weeks. So, spreading things out and maybe focusing more efforts on one individual task. You know, on from where you're sitting, you're maybe not seeing the turnover. You're not seeing the progress that's being made in the background, which again is maybe a good reason for even doing this AMA and maybe continuing to do these types of AMAs. But like I said, it's kind of a double-edged sword. So what we're really trying to do is spread things out, focus on just the things that are that are important, the core goals and initiatives, things that are going to really start earning money for us, and not spend as much time on the rest of the stuff. But again, by doing that, you guys got to be able to kind of go through longer periods without major releases. And like I said, maybe it's just because this is the way we've done it for 3 years, and we're kind of moving a little bit more towards a more systematic type of approach, longer release schedules, more testing in the middle. It's different now, but realistically, that's where we want to go. If you look at any of the major projects, any of the top 100, 200 coins, right? Or protocols, like no one's putting out releases like we used to. So I think we're still building faster than anyone in the industry, and I want to continue to do that. But again, it'll probably be a little bit more spread out. Just for reference, I suppose, right? But to get down to the nitty gritty here, you can obviously see the first one on the list, right, is this UI UX overhaul, right? There's a lot to unpack, right? So we all know we've been at these vaults for a couple of years now. V1 was kind of back in our money market protocol. It was almost more a proof of concept. It was really cool, but very narrow focused. It only worked for our individual tokens. But it was an MVP, proof of concept. The V2, again, a lot of you guys are familiar with this. V2 was great. We kind of like had this like aha moment that like, hey, maybe we can just like open this up and allow any farms, right? And that was awesome. But we had a lot of support tickets in the process. We really had to to wade through a lot of crap, because again, it's a brand new project, brand new product, and we're kind of paving the way. So we had some stumbling blocks, right? With our V3 now, honestly, you can even ask Gannon. I put Gannon in charge of support tickets, and he doesn't even have anything to do, because V3 just works so phenomenal, right? It always works. This is what we originally had intended, right? But it took 2 years of like going through support tickets, finding out the pain points, and really figuring out exactly what we needed to update and change with this last version, right? So this last version that we released, the V3 version, basically solved all those problems. Any problems any issues that we had, depositing, or basically anything at the contract level, is pretty much solved now, right? But what we realized, especially with some of the V3 liquidity, right, the concentrated liquidity from Uniswap, Pancake, this was a whole nother aspect that requires a fair amount of new UI, the stuff that we'd never had in the first place. And also the other thing is we realized that some of the feedback that we'd gotten, maybe they're not support ticket worthy, but just general feedback was that for new users coming in, this was a daunting thing to look at, right? Like you come to this app, and you're basically looking at like the dashboard of a space shuttle, just knobs and buttons and whistles everywhere, and like as sophisticated as it is under the hood, it for those of you guys that are using it, it's not really that hard once you get it right. But there's a learning curve, and there's things we could do better at, right? So before we got into the big marketing push, the final kind of checklist, check off the list for approval, to where we could start focusing on other things. We really just want to do this complete UI overhaul. You've seen now we just released the ETF page with some of the new UI. Obviously, that's maybe only like 5% of what the new what the finished product will look like. We have all these new pages coming, but it's basically just from the ground up. We've refactored everything, and it not only works a lot better, but once you see the final release, it just really it's more user friendly, more intuitive. We have advanced mode, beginner mode, for people that are just coming in, or people that are more inclined to use the strategies and things like that, right? So that's number one. That's where we're at. That's what we wanted to do first. And honestly, for the last 3 months, probably maybe more, 4 months, maybe we've been working on this. Again, because it's not just like one little UI feature, it's like a complete overhaul. We really took a step back and said what works, what doesn't work. There was a lot of back and forth between the design team, myself, user feedback, all this. So, but we're really close now. At like currently, I'm literally going through each page individually with the design team, the front end team. Like basically, it's all been dev. It's all on the dev site, and now we're going through each page one by one to really just hammer out the little specifics and make sure everything's working the way it should. As we continue to kind of check individual pages off, we'll keep adding them to that beta app, so you guys can play around with it and start testing. Offer your feedback, any bugs, anything like that coming up. And like I said, that'll help us get to marketing quicker. So once everything is out, at the same time, everything will be in the beta testing. Once everything's released, we'll migrate everything back down into the root domain, back to dexfinance.com. We hit the ground running, right?
Hey, Jake.
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick drink break. We'll ask a question if you
Perfect.
don't mind on this one. So with all that UI refactoring and updating, well, does that include the consolidated rebranding of the other chains? I know you're going to talk about that, but I'm just wondering if that includes that as well.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a great question. So, you can see on the roadmap here, right? We have the UI UX overhaul, and then we also have the DexSwap merger, right? Which is the kind of consolidation. Obviously, like I said, with our dev team, we have a lot of bandwidth, right? We do actually have a working version of the new UI of the new contracts, UI, everything for the DexSwap merger, the consolidation. So yeah, all that's been worked on at the same time. And again, that's partly one and the same, right? Obviously, it's, this roadmap is linear, right? So we want to prioritize, like obviously the vault UI is a priority. But again, yeah, we're definitely working on that at the same time.
But it will not happen. I guess I didn't mean to skip level you there. I skipped over a couple. I skipped you forward 2 topics, it looks like. So that's why it sounds like this UI overhaul and rollout is specific to Dex Finance and Arbitrum, or as we know it today, and then the other stuff will be rolled in later per the roadmap here.
Yeah, well, I know it's a good question, because it is kind of one and the same. Like I said, obviously there's more priority on the vault UI, because we need that to be done before we can start the marketing and stuff. But like I said, at the same time, we're working on both of these things together, right? So again, we're in this point where, like, on the contract level, everything's done. We are and also at the same time we've been doing UI. We've also been doing the new AILM, which we'll go into probably in detail in a minute. But yeah, all this stuff's being worked on at the same time. Honestly, I believe that's why all these first three are in green, right? And it's cool. We can jump ahead for a minute. I can come back, but in terms of the merger, the consolidation, Again, we're at the point now where all the contracts are done. We are, kind of in final testing, back and forth with the front end team on UI. But to give you an idea of kind of the process, right? Like, again, priority is the vaults. Once we're ready to go live with the DexSwap merger, basically we're going to start with like one chain. In fact, we're probably going to launch first on BNB with the EMP stuff, right? For a couple reasons. One, because there's that actually doesn't require any merging per se, right? It's kind of all their new stuff, and also there's everything else we're doing. We're already, it's already earning, right? Whereas like the EMP stuff is still on PancakeSwap, so there's a greater need, I guess, to actually get that over, because there's more money in it for everybody, right? And also
Can you double click on that? Is that pulling in like all the EMP transactions instead of going through PancakeSwap? It's going through DexSwap. Is that basically what that is?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Okay.
So the third point is just to get more like more testing, bug testing. We get the MVP out, because the DexSwap merger, like we're upgrading to like a V3 Dex concentrated liquidity. We're actually using some of the stuff from the V4 that's not even out yet, and then we've also sprinkled in some of our own kind of special sauce. But yeah, that's exactly what it means. Basically, like I said, like all the volume, right, that's going to PancakeSwap right now, that's all that we'll be able to just move that over to DexSwap, without having to do like big mergers. It's obviously a merger, but again, they own a lot of that POL, and it's not really it's not as complex as moving some of the other stuff that's already on our platforms. So
is that volume noticeable, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of volume are we talking about? I mean, I'm guessing I can go to PancakeSwap and probably filter it out and figure it out, right? Because it's all on chain.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I haven't really looked. I haven't looked too.
I didn't know if it was just like a noticeable dollar amount or not. Just kind of curious. Sorry, I'm being nosy.
No. Yeah, I haven't really looked too closely.
Okay.
I haven't really looked too closely lately, but I mean, I know they have they put it this way, they have like they have $1.5 million maybe in liquidity.
Okay.
One.
Yep.
It also allows us to, even without their personal volume, what it does is it gives us the ability to make additional money on like our bridges and stuff, right? Because then we're already bridging to BNB, but it's on a little different system, right? So all in all, this is just it's just a good way to start us off, test it right. But then like I said, once the MVP's out, once that's live, we know everything works. It'll be much easier to just kind of clone out different, similar to what we do with like the vaults, new chains, right? Easier to really drive in new chains, right? And like I said, I think maybe I took a peek at some of your questions, so I think we'll circle back on some of the details on that. But that's kind of the idea, right? Going backwards real quick, the farm voting, right? So ultimately, once those two big things are done, and particularly with the UI, the vaults, once those things are in, we really want to, like, basically our focus is on marketing, and adding new farms, new chains, right? So with that said, basically we really want to just make it as accessible and offer everything possible, as many farms as possible to the people that want them, right? So this whole farm voting thing is basically a way to upvote farms. Anyone can just add a farm, and we can upvote it for priority ads, right? And that'll really gear us up for marketing, right? So between the new UI, making sure we're our conversions are as good as they can be, as well as adding new farms, having as many options for people, right? And then the actual marketing to push those in, right? So that's the big stuff up right now.
Hey, can I ask you? I'm gonna pin you down here because I think for the most part, the community that is on now or will be listening to this, they're pretty in tune, right? Wouldn't you agree with these 3 items? I mean, for the most part, people are pretty in tune. So I think the big kahuna on everyone's mind is, what are the dates behind them? And I know obviously it's software. I come from the software industry. You can't lock down a date, but can you share with us general timelines, what you're thinking, at least what you're targeting, even though it's going to be fluid? We have to accept that.
Yeah, of course. Like I said, we've been at it for a while, several months. It has been it has been a little bit longer than I maybe originally anticipated. But we are, like I said, we already just released the ETF page. The rest of the pages are in final review. So I think with the UI UX stuff, within the next couple of weeks, I will say, we are still in Q3. So we're not quite late yet.
We're exiting Q3. What are you talking about, man? September is an exit for Q3, bro.
Well, right. I'm that's still egg. Don't
mess with you.
Don't chintz me. Don't take days away.
You got a week. Man. I'm kidding.
Right. Well, that's like I said. I mean, we're maybe a little behind this schedule, obviously, but like I said, I think we are definitely within the next couple weeks, I would say, and again, you'll start seeing more now that we're at this point. You will start seeing more progress on a kind of daily, weekly basis, right? Because like I said, we'll start releasing some of these pages so you guys can check them out. Like I said, that's still the top priority. The merger, will probably happen shortly after that. So, within a month, let's say, for the merger. And then obviously the marketing and stuff that should all, as soon as we're comfortable with everything, we can kind of start easing into some of that stuff. And also, even without even being full, like we're already kind of gearing up for the marketing stuff,
Hey, really quick before we get into marketing and beyond, because there's obviously some really cool items on the roadmap. With the merger, because there's obviously some big communities that it sounds like we're going to be merging with. Are there some new personas that our community at Dex Finance should be aware of? We'll be entering, and should we see them more in our Discord, or how's that going to operate? Who are those personas, and who should we be aware of?
Yeah, of course. That's another good one. In terms of the merger, right? And again, that's a good place to step back a little bit. We chose to do this merger because we now have really great partners in EMP, right? AJ and his team, LA. They for better or for whatever opinions, I know there's been some mixed opinions in the community, and I honestly I don't think I think the root of it is just that you guys want me to spend more time on our core products rather than these little side hustles, which I get it. I do too. But again, we had to pay the bills, and I think what we've done so far has helped just to bring in more revenue in general, right? You look at our DAO page. I mean, our DexNet, quote unquote DexNet, is the kind of division we lump all that stuff into, right? Let's take a look actually. This DexNet feature, DexNet. So, and we brought in like 146K so far. In our kind of our this is like all of our bots, basically primarily everything we're doing with their team, right? So, I mean, number one, the revenues it's not nothing, it's substantial. Two, I think they're just really great partners. It's good to have people like-minded individuals. And again, I'm not really trying to jump into a ton of new partnerships, but I think this one's really great for us. But again, that goes to the whole point. Once this merger is done, essentially we can consolidate it's not just consolidating the DEXs, but we're going to consolidate all the social media, all the socials, right? It'll be just one. In fact, that's actually something.
TVL, does TVL get consolidated?
TVL gets consolidated.
So if anything, it makes, from an optics, right, perspective, it makes us look bigger, right? We appear bigger on chain, which is good, right?
Yeah, I mean,
that drives confidence and, helps us scale.
Yeah, on multiple levels, right? Because it's not just TVL of the DEX, right? Like the DEX TVL is great, right? And people, if someone's coming to use a swap on DEX, it's bigger TVL, right? But also more TVL for DexFi in general, right? And in addition, there's extra, there's kind of more runoff, or like, the people that are coming to use, DEX swap on Pulse or DEX swap on Manta, wherever, they get to now, without even leaving the app, they get to see all this other stuff that DexFi does, and in addition, like the real meat and potatoes of this is, number one, it's good, I think, in general, just because it's all consolidated, consolidated socials, consolidated TVL, right? But also now, I can be a little more hands off, and like AJ and his team can then kind of take over this whole aspect and really just focus on the marketing, right? So even the consolidation of marketing is it's not just a like a pulse chain, it's not just like a pulse chain DEX, it's just like,
Right.
I mean, it's a DEX swap. It's everything. It's all the DEXs together. The marketing dollars that we're spending for that, the energy and the time that they're putting into it is not, again, it's not just for one person. It's just,
it'll be one URL, and then it'll be like, I don't want to say it's like Uniswap, but you know what I mean? It'll be like an enterprise Uniswap, in a sense that you'll have one URL and you'll have all these various chains that we can select and transact on.
Right. But also you'll have the vaults, and you'll have the ETFs, and you'll have all the other stuff that we do. You know what I mean? So
we do, of course, they're our core products. Right.
So so there's a lot of overlap there,
Yeah, exactly.
That like I said, that it helps maximize, like I said, not only just visibility, TVL, but also marketing, manpower, all the above. It's just a all around good move, I think.
I'll give you a quick, just so we're all aware, a quick time check. We're at the bottom of the hour. I know when we had set this up and we talked before we started, I know we wanted to try to keep it to an hour long, right around there. So maybe in the essence of time, can we hit the really key roadmap items that are probably revenue generators and big needle movers for DexFi? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because some of these aren't quite as needle movers from a revenue perspective, which I know everyone in the chat, I could name Discord names, but I mean, everyone's going to be remiss if we don't really, let's talk about,
100%,
where the rubber hits the road, how do we drive this thing forward and grow the shit out of it, right? And I think that's what we're all excited about.
I'll even do you one better. Let's just let's just we can just cross the stats upgrade. That's just
forget the DAO governance, please. Let's don't open that. That's almost like talking about politics on this call. That'd be brutal.
Exactly. Yeah. We're not doing any of that right now. We'll have a separate one for that maybe. The DEX Bank is obviously something you guys have all known. I want to get into borrowing and lending, leverage vault, that kind of stuff. Right, but again, that's down the road, right? Vault social, that's kind of more just
we don't need that,
right? So really, the last two we can quickly go over, and honestly, we don't.
But hold on, wait, no, we skipped over marketing. I think the only question that a lot of folks care about is, when the hell does marketing kick off, and what is the plan of attack?
Yeah, of course. So again, the whole idea behind marketing, and we've done, we have done a little bit here and there, but realistically, I've been cautious to start any real marketing because I wanted to finish the UI UX overhaul here. Because
which also made sense. Sorry to interrupt you, just because the treasury had already paid the debt, so it was a little bit on the low end. So it was basically wasting resources to heavy market now. It's just way better to wait until we have everything running. We're also heading to a good market, after elections and everything. So we will be ready to start it.
Yeah, I mean,
so let's talk about timing and what it is that we're like. What do we plan? What do we have teed up? Like, because we should probably already have things like here's our plan of attack for when the timing is right, and what does that timing look like?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's multiple. Like as far as timing is concerned, like realistically, like I said, nothing. I wasn't planning on spending any real dollars until the UI UX is done.
Yep.
Primarily because, like how many guys have been to a crypto app that you didn't like, and then you checked it back out again in 5 months? I mean, like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't happen. Like you got one chance to kind of wow investors and users, right? So.
Right.
We were doing some stuff, and we still are with like the bank and stuff like that, but we're trying to save our bullets for the big push, right? Like Ann said also too, like in general, just the timing actually worked out really well because, after paying off the US Dex debt and like right in time for this big market slump, Treasury took a little bit of hit, but we're clawing back really nicely now. And honestly, we haven't really, just the last like week or two has been, green markets for the most part, with like a lot of ways to go. So I think so, Treasury's getting healthy again. We have more money to spend on marketing. The UI UX stuff is getting done. So again, now we're at the point where like basically as soon as the UI is ready, we'll start going into marketing. In terms of what that entails, right? I'm still a huge fan of the debank marketing. We did, we were like 3 months ago or so. We started maybe I don't know around that time. We started kind of testing the waters, and honestly, the results were fantastic. Like with like minimal capital, we were able to go from like about 1,000 wallets to like almost 2,000 wallets, right, over like a 2-month period when we were doing it. And it's like I said, affordable, right? Because the biggest thing, we've done pretty much every type of crypto marketing in general, and just notoriously ROIs suck. They're not good. So this is a great base that we can just kind of right off the bat, we can start, hitting everybody, every user we'd like to hit. Part of that also deals with this farm, like the adding of farms and chains, right? Because like when we on our little kind of trial run when we started doing it, basically we're hitting like the beefy users or the aerodrome users, like stuff that we already have, right? In order to really get to a larger market, we need to be able to offer the products, the farms, right, that people want to invest in, right? So like, as we start adding new farms, new dexes, new chains, then we can start specifically targeting those people, through debank, direct messaging. And even right now, we're still, posting and trying to. That's probably our most active social, along with maybe Twitter, or obviously Discord. But again, that's because, we have like maybe 13,000 followers there. Those messages are free to message our own people, right? So, it's kind of a.
But we've been doing that, right? I mean, we've always had access to those, correct?
Like I said, like a quarter ago, maybe 2, 3, 4 months ago, we did like a month or two where we started testing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And in that time period, like within like a month or two, we gained like 1,000 wallets, right?
Yeah.
And we spent like maybe I don't know $2,000 or something like that. It was like very good ROI. I have not sent I haven't sent those messages out for probably the last 2 or 3 months. Again, because we want to keep our bullets till the UI is done.
Till the market's good and the UI is done. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and we have farms, and we have if I message everyone on
no, I get it.
And we don't have those farms added. That
on the farm side, then have we gone through and made a list of the farms that are on Beefy and then cross-reference those? Like, do we have a spreadsheet that breaks it down that says here's the farms and here's sorted by largest TVL?
Oh yeah.
And then here's what we need to add. Here's where the gap is between what we offer and what Beefy offers and what we need to add based on obviously using TVL as the interest driver or wallet count as the interest driver.
Yeah. Like we definitely, for 100%, we have spreadsheets with farms ready to go. Part of that is adding more chains. And then also part of that.
So what are the key chains? Like, are there 2 or 3 that we're just missing? Like the key ones, like obviously ETH is a key one. Are we missing? I mean, is that considered a key one or not?
ETH is for sure. Gas is kind of up and down on that one.
I know, of course. ETH sucks ass. Right.
Like even BV doesn't have much TVL on ETH because it's
okay, because it's expensive.
Right. It's definitely something I want to add.
So what are the ones we're missing? Like what's top of mind for you?
So Matic is obviously towards the top of the list. That's kind of a major chain. Blast is a big
at least from a hype perspective, Blast is hot.
Hype and also just TVL. Like there's a lot of DeFi there. There's money there. Linea is on our short list. In fact, we're working with a project on there now.
Now, are these top chains on Beefy, like as far as activity and deposits?
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
okay, cool.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure if Beefy is sort of the leading indicator, because it kind of is. They're the bellwether, right? You can't dispute that that Beefy has the TVL that we want to, from a goal perspective, attain and then surpass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, for sure. Although for me, it's like kind of twofold. Like I have a list that I want to hit, right? There's specific farms that I personally want to put my money in. I mean, so I have my own list that I'm going to start going down, right? But then hopefully, when we get this farm voting system up, we'll also be getting feedback from the community, right? Because
the farm voting is for people that already know us. What about we're trying to get to people that don't know us so we can grow TVL? Because otherwise we're just circulating our own cash from our own wallets, right, in the community.
Well, it's both though, because yes, we do want new users, right? But like I just said, like I have 50 grand that I want to put in a farm right now. I can't put it in.
But you're a baller, bro. You're a baller.
You would come on. If I told you I'm putting my money in this vault, you would jump into it, right?
I follow you. You know that. Okay, I have this 8th button that I renamed Jake, and I just click it whenever you call me. Yeah,
right. But that's my point.
But that's not how we want to grow the protocol, right? We don't want to grow the platform that way. I mean,
I do. I want to grow it both ways. Yeah. I mean, I want to get the beefy users. I want to get people that don't know us yet, right? But at the same time, it's like a customer acquisition is always more to get than your existing customers that have money they want to put in something, right? So like I don't want to.
But don't we feel like a lot of our community has already invested in us from a trust perspective and a financial perspective? So I almost want to say, excuse the pun, they've shot their wad. I don't want to say that. I mean, you know what I mean? We kind of need expanded TVL beyond what I bring, you bring, and the community brings.
I agree. I agree.
Sorry, I'm asking the Diane Sawyer questions. I got to be a hard ass.
I mean, I agree with you, but I like I said, I think it's twofold. I think like as far as GDEX concerned, right? I think yes. I think most of our community members are tapped out. They've already spent their money on GDEX, right? But again, I think there's people that have like you can just it's not too hard to find out. You just look at the wallets. There's people with money on other chains. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah,
absolutely.
So you want to drag them in? Sure, absolutely.
Well, I mean, we already have they already know us. They already have money in the vaults that they want. I mean, so I don't want to not give them what they like. If they have money they want to put in. I mean, honestly, even it'll run concurrently. It's not like we're just disregarding new farms. I mean, adding all the farms the BV has on our chains, right, is great. We can do that. We'll do that anyway. But even those new people that come in, right, if they have a way to request other farms, right, like it's not just the people that are here. It's the people that are coming in then that are asking for the farms that they want, right? Because
But I mean, are we getting a lot? And again, I'm asking only to be devil's advocate. Are we getting a lot of those? I mean, do we have a lot of pending requests of farms? I know we have the onesie twosies. I've seen like Daedalus, and even myself. I'll ping you one off one eye. I'll go, hey man, can we get this farm added? Yeah, and you'll tell me, right? You'll reply, hey, it wasn't on my radar, or yeah, I was already looking at it. Most of the time, you're already looking at it. That kind of stuff. So
yeah, I mean, there's a fair
amount. We got the onesie twosies, but do we have like a huge amount?
I don't know. We're going to find out because
with the voting mechanism,
the farm voting is already in the works, right? And you're right. Like I don't know. I mean, you ask for a farm, people ask for a farm. There's a channel with all the new farm requests, right? But like once it's on the farm voting app, you'll be able to click the fucking, you click the button and you'll see it. Oh, there's this guy has.
But will it be automated? I think that was the question from the community a lot, right? They want it automated in the sense that it's added more quickly.
Probably not. No, I mean, maybe
it still requires human effort.
Maybe at some point, depending on the farm, right? Like, so each Dex has its own module, right? So depending on the farm, we might, we might be able to do that. There's some human interaction, but that's low hanging fruit. I mean, like once we're done with this development, I'm not really messing with any big projects, right? So,
what drink are you on? What drink number?
I told you, I just poured one giant glass of this.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm on my third, so it's starting to kick in.
Perfect.
So, all right. So it is time check 5:45, which means that we have loosely 15 plus minutes or so, right? Maybe a little bit extra. Okay, good. Yeah. So can you put some dates to any of these? Because we're all very anxious, we're all looking forward. And there's a lot of questions around AILM productivity. Maybe we don't get into the weeds on this. Maybe we can just, can you hit dates and let's move over to the questions. Like date ranges.
I mean, like I said, all this was all listed out in Q2. I think we're not too far away. I mean,
okay. So marketing push in Q4 is fair, right? Marketing push in Q4.
100%,
yeah. Do we have a dollar amount like we've set aside for that? Like just so to give folks a sense for the scale of like how committed are we?
Yeah, it's a little more complicated than just like a dollar amount. Because again, it kind of mentioned this too. Like it'll be a percentage of our treasury yield, basically. I mean, so.
But we have a historical perspective on treasury yield, right? That we could use as a moving average.
Yeah. I mean, well, yes and no. I mean, we do, but we've things have changed a little bit, right? Because we finally got rid of the debt, right? So now we have more we have more flexibility, but treasury's down a little bit. We've already supplemented most of like the operating costs, development costs, right? So, we probably will. I mean, I plan to hit it hard. I don't know,
5K or like 50K or 500K. I know it's not 500K. I'm just joking, but
well, again, it'll be gradual because I'm not super. I know that ROIs suck. I mean, so I'm going to be very cautious to make sure we're spending our money the right way. I'll probably put like maybe 20K for the first couple of weeks just to try some campaigns. Outside of the bank stuff, we want to do like more like Galaxy kind of
Quest related stuff. Task Quest.
We're looking into also like layer 3, but it's way more expensive, so we need to really. We need to be healthier in terms of treasury before starting those kind of quests. I mean, Biffy does them, but like Biffy has bigger pockets right now. But at the end of the day, we have a superior product. The only difference is that we haven't been able to heavy market like they have been doing. So once we start and people start realizing that we have a better product, we have better rates, it's more optimized, we have our own like custom stuff, they will see the difference and they will start moving some of the TBL into our farms.
Well, here's the thing. Gannon's a little more frugal than me. I told Gannon to get me some prices on the this other kind of quest kind of stuff, and it is probably more expensive. But the thing is, like we can we have a good size trader. Like if there's money coming back from it, right? I'll do it. I'm not like. I mean, as long as there's ROI, as long as we can put 50, we can put 100 in, right?
The only place that I've seen quests really, and I don't even know if I would say work, where I see them active is in really hypester DeFi degen communities, and maybe I'm being a little bit, too jaded on that, but the only place where I really see a lot of that Galaxy stuff happen is in those type of TG groups or Discord groups where they're very hype driven. And I got to say, our community is very more level-headed, investor-minded. You know what I mean? And does Galaxy fit with our current investor, or are we targeting those toward another investor persona?
The quest will be different though. Like, for example, like DeBank now has quests, right? And you can actually literally say, like we could say, okay, here's a DeBank quest for joining a vault on Arbitrum. Right.
Oh, I got you.
Say, okay,
I like that. Okay, now I see. I got it.
That's the money in one of our vaults on Arbitrum and get something back. I mean,
yeah, I like that.
Very direct correlation. Like that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about.
Because we can target beefy customers like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, I love it. All right, there we go. See,
we want to be really.
This is why you got to educate me, guys. This is why I got to ask the questions. You got to educate me.
And in terms of like layer 3, that the one that's more expensive, that's why we're like waiting a little bit, so we have everything, like the UI and everything, so we can start heavy marketing. Like that platform that's way more expensive than Galaxy, for example, because Galaxy is like a set cost, and the other guys just basically charge you based on volume, impressions, and stuff like that. I mean, when we go there, that will help like with mass adoption. Even if they have a quest where they have to put like $50 on a farm, it doesn't matter. Like that's exposure we're getting to a lot of new people.
You know what I was thinking of? I was thinking of those quests where it's like, oh, post an X or a Twitter thing and post and do that. And I'm like, that doesn't
those are old
our
school
community style, right? You know what I mean? You see where I was going with that? Okay, good.
Yeah, those work for memes and airdrops and stuff.
Right. Thank you, sir. Okay, good. No, I appreciate the mature aspect on this. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
All right. So I'll tell you what. Let's skip the rest. Honestly, the only two
pivot. Yeah, man.
The last two things here were like this AILM module and the enterprise.
You want to talk about enterprise vaults or DexFi at all? Either one, really quick.
No, let's leave
abbreviated.
Okay, let's leave DexFi off. That's another topic.
Okay.
I'll just give a elevator pitch for this AILM module and the enterprise vaults. So basically, once the AILM is done and set, what we want to do is like obviously it'll be like the AILM is going to be available in this phase, right? But once it's ready to go, the module is specifically for like partner dexes, right? Like so if you go to like QuickSwap or a lot of the major dexes now, when you're creating your LP, your V3 concentrated liquidity farm, it'll give you options for different liquidity managers, right? So like basically this just puts our automated liquidity manager into like a category where it can be then listed on a DeFi Llama or chosen as a preferred liquidity manager on other dexes, right? Simple as that. Nothing too much more. Just gets us more exposure, things like that, right? The enterprise vaults, basically a simplified version for more private investing, smaller kind of firms that might be trying to get into it as a service, and basically just a really slim down. We probably only have like maybe four or five options, maybe less even. A stable farms, a stable blue chips, just a couple different options.
Family offices, broker dealers, institutions, things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's good for now. We can those are bigger topics we can come back to, but okay.
Oh, hey, got a question for you, by the way, from Adarsh. What will we give back to Galaxy and DBank people? He says GDEX is diluted. I mean, any thoughts from you or Gannon on what will we give back in rewards? What's the reward type for the Galaxy folks?
We haven't specifically set that. I mean, it would be part of the marketing budget, probably
TBD.
US Dex or something like that.
And like just to mention again, basically Galaxy is more focused on like social tasks, like what we were saying about tweets and all that stuff. But when we move to layer 3, it will be basically direct interactions with the platform, and they can be tracked.
I love that.
So that will be like direct exposure. If you combine that with DBank, because DBank it's kind of new, like how it works, the new system, but basically it's way better than using any other social. Like you're not using Twitter where you're just like mass broadcasting to whoever.
Right.
On DBank, you're just going specifically for certain wallets that that they're doing this, because you can just track it on DBank, and you can make your own scripts, you can make your own list, and if you combine both things, it's very effective to attract new TVL and also to get exposure from the layer 3 thing.
Great idea.
Well, honestly, we could have a whole other. In fact, again, we could probably do this every couple of weeks, and we'll probably have a full. Once we're ready to start really kicking in marketing, we can go into deeper dive on some of that stuff.
Let's hit some of these questions. They're burning a hole in my Google Sheets.
Yeah, I know. I'm
fire, bro. Fire.
Rapid
All right.
fire.
I'm going to hit you with one of mine first. I have a few, but I'm going to hit you with one, and then let's go down for some of the communities, if you don't mind. But even the one that I'm going to ask is really, I think there's a general community question around it. Okay, we were all all of us were really loving and bought into the whole CETO swap expansion. We loved it. Many of us went in, decently on the G CETO 404 because we love that 404 concept. Remember that? Is there any type of migration planned to help either the ROI or investment over time on that hybrid token type, NFT hybrid?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you share?
So, of course, yeah. In fact, honestly, I still think even with everything on CETO being kind of in the dumps right now, and I guess actually let me first of all apologize. I know that we probably have not given the proper time or even we should be better at addressing some of those concerns. Frankly, I just didn't have a whole lot to report until this next phase is complete. But I still think even now, I still think it's a good buy. Basically, what's going to happen is we're so obviously we're the mergers and migrations are one of our strong suits. You saw we took DexShare, DexIRA, US Dex. We bundled all that together, moved to Arbitrum, picked up and took our ball and went over to Arbitrum. Granted, it took a little while, but as of like last month, right? Literally every single person for the last 3 years that invested with us was made whole.
Yep.
And we're gonna do something similar. Like basically, we're gonna migrate. And kind of going back to your timelines, like I said, like within the next month, we'll have the beta out, the first version out, BNB, and then from there we'll start doing like a new chain every couple of weeks, right? Ultimately, once everything is migrated over to the new DexSwap, there will be like a single governance token, non-inflationary. It's not necessarily a reward token, more of like a GDEX, right? But strictly for DexSwap. Essentially, what we'll do is kind of come up with general market cap for all of the different reward tokens, governance tokens per se, right? Like the Spark 404, CETO, CETO 404, right? All these inflationary tokens are going to be bundled up into one governance token, right? Which will earn essentially yield on everything that DexSwap is doing. So, realistically, whatever you own now, especially if in GCETO, right, you're going to be rewarded on not just what happens on Manta, but you're going to be rewarded on what happens across all the chains, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
So your value is basically the value of DexSwap, not the value of of just one chain, right?
Right.
And again, I don't want to missay anything, right? Too early, but that's the general idea. Some of it might be weighted, based on like the GCETO 404's governance or the higher valued NFTs, right? We may still keep NFT, we may still keep something along those same lines. We may not, of course, but everyone definitely will be compensated. And it'll reflect the total market. Those will be transferable between the chains. You'll be able to take them either one, to any chain that that we're on. There'll be liquidity for all, on each chain, that kind of thing. So,
I love it. All right. Well, let's do this because I have a list of questions that were shared with me, from folks that couldn't make it either from time zones or just availability. But we do have some people online, and maybe for the folks that were gracious enough to join us live, are there any more questions from anyone that's on YouTube streaming that we'd like to get those answered really quick before I go down the list for the people that gave them to me ahead of time? Adarsh, Nubengir, a Fat Mouse, Silverbacked, anyone like that? I don't see any, but yeah.
I was gonna say, a Fat Mouse sounds like he found his new favorite host.
I know, right? He must have been referring to Gannon. Definitely. All right. Well, I don't see anything in there.
Yeah, if there's questions, just funnel them in. Let's get through some of them.
All right, let's get started. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and look. I'll go ahead and reference and give credit to the question askers here. This is from our boy Kevin Launchwell Productions. All right, so let's go. All right, so I'm just going to hit you with them. We might have to do a little bit of deciphering. Sometimes I didn't get full clarity on what these were. He asks, why are we going back mercenary PL when protocol owned liquidity was our thing?
Yeah, that's an easy one. I wouldn't say going back at all. I think what he's referring to is the new DEX swap is V3 liquidity. Realistically, right? So to put this in context, like we still own all the POL right now, right?
Yep.
Basically, all this does is offers a better form of liquidity, right? So the first of all, obviously, all of our POL will be put into the new thing, into the V3, the new DEX swap, right? The way that the V3 liquidity farms work is you're just getting swap fees, but you're getting fees on what's traded, right? So if anyone wants to match the treasury on adding liquidity to GDEX or USDEX, I mean, go for it. It's great, but obviously we're gonna get most of those fees, and realistically, like. Again, we're pushing the products. As far as the tokens, it's not going to be crazy high returns, right? Because the volume's just not quite there, right? And with the treasury owning all the POL, they're going to get the lion's share of it, right? So honestly, we're still controlling the POL. We still have most of the POL. We'll still be adding to our POL all the time. Again, if somebody wants to, put some money in there, not the end of the world, go for it. We welcome that because obviously we need POL, but ultimately it's just a way for us to get more bang for our buck, so to speak, right?
Okay.
Our couple 100,000 in liquidity and concentrated, being concentrated is definitely it's going to be, we're going to provide a lot less slippage, be able to get new investors in on a tighter range as opposed to a more linear V2 approach. Yeah.
Fair enough. Hey, let me hit you with Adarsh's questions because he is online and he did go ahead and preload those for us. He was kind enough to do that. 2 questions that are burning in his mind. One is, and I think you and he already touched on it briefly in Discord, can we provide GDEX liquidity with ETH? And I think you were sort of touching on that in Discord.
Yeah, I did say I would kind of go through that a little bit more. And again, Adarsh, appreciate the question, man. And we have kind of gone back and forth on it. Again, it's something where I'm interested in. I guess okay. Let's start from the beginning. Number one, the goal from the very beginning was to create a governance token that didn't rely on external factors, right? So I mean, I get where you're coming from, right? You're predicting that ETH is going to go up by 200-300% in the next year, and you want that to drag GDEX up, right? I'm not opposed to that per se, but then what happens at the end of the cycle, right? Then it's going to drag us back down, right? So that's one factor. Another factor is just the impact that will have on our US DEX system, right? Because it's just outside the box. It's another token, right? We have to kind of reassemble our liquidity, our bots, which leads me to the third thing is we can't just launch a liquidity pair without having bots set up to mitigate the price parity, right? So that's number 3. Number 4 is we need ETH. We need more ETH to add to that LP, right? So now you're talking about like just destroying all the other LPs or just taking out from the treasury, right? So it's just more mouths to feed, more money to go around, when we're going into where we want to have the marketing, right? So again, I'm not opposed to it. It's something that I will take a much closer look at once the DEX swap merger has gone through, right? Because I'm definitely not going to build all this stuff for the current version, right? Because then we'll have to rebuild it all again in a month. So again, I'm not opposed to it. In fact, I had the original idea. It's definitely something that might be beneficial, but I was just not. I'm always very cautious to just jump into things without doing a full discovery and figuring out how it's going to react, affect the rest of our ecosystem, and definitely not without having the proper infrastructure in place to handle that.
All right, thank you. Let's see here. Let me grab the next good one here, and I'm just going to kind of round robin. Some people ask multiple questions, so I want to give everyone a fair shot here.
Sure.
Okay. How about what's the plan to sort out DeFi Llama and our stats and data, because they seem to have all of our information incorrect.
Yeah, that's a good one. So as you know, it took a long time just to get DeFi Llama to take our submissions at all. Again, this is multiple. Like a lot of these are just kind of more open-ended, bigger questions or bigger issues. Initially, right? Initially, some of the concerns were, we do have a lot of GDEX in the vault, in the vaults and stuff. So like they were, when we submitted, they had issues with it having our own tokens and our TVLs and things like that. Also, we made a concentrated effort recently, which is why you're now seeing all the DeFi Llama stuff in there at all anyway. And that was because with the new so basically everything we had new contracts for V3 stuff, right? And we wanted to wait until everything was done before, because it's not like you would think it's simple, but it's not at all like a small project that maybe have one or two tokens, one product, right? They can just submit and it goes, right? Our stuff is like so complicated, so complex that like it's just a whole mess of different things we got to give them, APIs and things like that. Also the fact that a lot of our core contracts are not verified, for a reason, because we're trying to make sure that we get competitive advantage before we release everything.
It's custom IP.
Right. And that's still the plan, to release everything at some point once we have a little lead on our competitors. But again, that's another challenge with DeFi Llama. They can't necessarily like the bank's great, right? The bank, we just give them like the APIs and they're happy with that, and they can do everything they need to do to get the stuff. DeFi Llama is a little more strict on some of that stuff, right? So there's a bunch of factors that tie into that. Back to the original question though, why are they messed up now? To be honest, I haven't actually looked too deeply lately. I have seen a bunch of like Twitter posts how we're like up 1,500% and stuff on some chains, which obviously I knew something was a little off. I have an idea, probably because we're now also updating. We're still updating contracts for some of the AI LM stuff. So things are still changing, right? At the end of the day, once this final UI stuff's done, once the ALM stuff's done, once we're really happy with the product, then we're going to circle back and move towards marketing. Part of that marketing includes making sure all the DeFi Llama stuff up to date, going back to the CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko stuff and all that good stuff. So it's definitely something that on our radar that we'll definitely address as soon as contracts are done.
Absolutely. I'm going to bring you a question that's actually across a few different personalities. It's related to stable coins. So I think there's a question from Aziz in there, James RT, myself, and then also I think it was Fracture. So there's obviously a large focus, and there's been a very large boom in stable coins just in the industry in general. And I think that there is some interest in some, questions from the community around how can we provide the right service on chain to take advantage of that and provide what people want. And so Fracture has a question around proposing a product similar to a solution like Numerical. And I know I've texted you a link to that, to their D app, just to kind of take a look at what they do. Aziz's question is kind of in that same realm of wanting to find some stable coin vault activity. James is the same thing. Set it and forget it product that's focused around stable coins for conservative investors. So do we have the ability to maybe shift or at least market part of our platform to conservative investors around stable coins and provide some innovative ways to drive higher yield stablecoin solutions to them? I think that's, if I had to summarize it, it'd be probably more along those lines. You know what I mean?
Sure. So a couple thoughts, right? Well, one, you did send me a link. I looked at, it was to the docs, right? I looked at the docs.
Yeah. Well, I sent you both to the D app and the docs, but I know I hit you right before the AMA here, so I didn't expect you to have an answer.
I briefly went to the docs. I didn't actually get to the app yet. From what I read on the docs, it actually, I think I might have told you this, like this is literally what our enterprise, vaults are geared to do, right?
Exactly. Yes, sir.
So yes, the answer is yes. I mean, obviously we would like to expand on that. I think the other thing is, again, we just need more farms, right? So that's already again in the plans, right? Adding more stable farms, adding more even like single stake tokens, just different options, right? So that's adding more is number one. Coming up with more like kind of we mentioned, this kind of enterprise level where like it's just like kind of a medley of different farms. One just like easier to use. Just here's the stables, here's the blue chips, right? That's number two.
Yes.
But even I'll take it even a step further. In fact, my goal always for the enterprise price vaults was to kind of combine the AILM with this new enterprise vault kind of system UI. So yeah, I mean the idea that I had that I've been trying to kind of cook up, and again it hasn't we're not in development quite on it yet, but it's something that we're kind of thinking about as we develop some other stuff. Is again, like I said, like kind of this hybrid of automated liquidity management with like stable coins, right? So assume we have I don't know, let's say we have 20 stablecoin pairs. And again, part of that is based on, how secure they are, what the risk tolerance is, what the risk level is. Are they on Uniswap with 40 million TVL, or are they on XYZ Dex with 100,000, right?
Algo stable coins versus collateral back stable coins.
Yeah, exactly right. But ultimately, once we add all the stable coins, we can figure out what the parameters are, right? And then we can say like part of this is kind of what we're doing with the AILM, right? Is like okay, before like with just our first ALM, right? Basically it just works as like, okay, here's the range is set, and then it just always keeps the range, right? But now basically with the AILM, right, is you're essentially given permission for the protocol to alter the ranges for you, right? So the next progression of that is like you're giving the protocol permissions to effectively move your money around, right? So you could have we could select the top 10 or 15 stable coins, pairs, and say, okay, let's let the ALM not only just determine the range, but also let's figure out, yeah, maybe this farm has got better APR. Let's allow this to move, if profitable, right? And obviously that's going to come with more development, more testing, and all this, right? Because obviously we're not going to put out a product that is not profitable, or not making more money than we're just sitting there. But yeah, that's the idea, right?
That is interesting, actually. Jake, that's really,
that's it. We really want to keep. I think we're and I'm sure some of the questions around the AILM as well, we'll get to in a minute. But and we've had some mixed results for the first testing. We've solved a lot of those problems, and but ultimately, I'm still really high on it. I think there's definitely nothing like it in the marketplace. And as long as once we make sure that this first version is working properly and doing what it should be doing, I don't see it being too big of a jump to say, okay, let's let it crawl between the data of 4 farms or 5 farms, or even one vault that just moves. Think about it like when you edit a vault that like just moves the ratios. You know what I mean?
Love it.
You know what I mean?
Love
That
it.
kind of thing. Yeah.
Question here from where did it go? From Aziz again. Thank you, Aziz. And you touched on ETH earlier. You mentioned, hey, we're looking at expanding to like places like Matic, Blast, maybe eventually ETH, right? Knowing that there's gas costs associated to that. What about Sol? We understand obviously that there's a fundamental architecture and development differential on Sol versus Ethereum-based stuff, right? Rust versus Solidity. But what are your thoughts on getting to Sol?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely a priority to some extent. Obviously, there's a lot of TVL, a lot of degen stuff over there, a lot of DeFi. For sure, something we want to tackle at some point. To be honest, we kind of shied away from it in the beginning because
is it because of the architecture, because of the extra development effort?
Well, yes and no. I mean, we have developers that can program in Rust, right?
Okay.
So Rust is the coding language of Sol.
Right.
We have guys that do it. It's just a matter of the cost benefit, and what does it take?
Worth the squeeze.
Yeah, right. So like we can add probably 5 new chains instead of or we can add Sol, right? Initially we had decided to not tackle that right away because we were kind of hoping for don't cringe. We were hoping for L1X to pan out a little bit more, which was interoperable with Sol, and we were going to use that as kind of a jump point where we could offer some of those products by using some of that tech. Obviously, that hasn't quite gone the way we wanted it to. So we're kind of back at the drawing board. Yeah, I mean it's definitely something that we're looking at. I don't necessarily. I think still at this point, because not only just the time, like it's a whole new thing, right? So we would have to build it. We'd have to make sure it's safe. We have to get more audits and stuff. As opposed to just like writing, cloning what we have for other EVM chains. To be honest, I think like fucking like Ton, there's new chains right now. Like the reason why Solana's got so crazy is because Pump.Fun was on Solana, right? And now Pump.Fun has kind of realized they're already sucked out a lot of the liquidity on Solana. So now they're on, there's Sat.Fun on some of these like Bitcoin layer 2s. There's one on Ton. There's one on Base now, right? So like I don't know. It's definitely we don't want to miss a big opportunity, but at the same time, we gotta kind of pick and choose our battles.
Yeah. Also, like the problem with Solana, you cannot gather information from any other place. Like most of the stuff you need to build it from scratch. So when I was interacting with Solana lately, a lot of the DeFi stuff they were doing is basically just copy old models from EVM and just building them from scratch on Solana. So it's a little bit tricky.
Yeah, I mean that's what we'd have to do anyway. But yeah, I mean it's a lift, I think also too maybe this is also something where maybe the this farm voting system would help too, right? Like we can let people plug in Solana farms. Once we have enough demand for it, then we'll do it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the entire ecosystem's been built on EVM and Ethereum based frameworks, aka Solidity. So that's probably why. So
yeah, I mean, exactly.
Okay, let's see. All right, back to Adarsh. Thank you, sir. Question for you. Okay, it's a long-winded one. Let me read it to you. But we know, I think we know the answer. But I want to share it with you first, if you don't mind.
Sure.
As we see in the crypto market these days, crypto projects and dApps incentivize users with their native tokens. For us, obviously, that's GDEX. This dilutes the value of the native token, but brings new users, engagement, and TVL, blah, blah, blah. Since our native token as GDEX is not prone to dilution and we focus on real yield, how do we market GDEX to new users? I'll stop it there for a second.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So okay, again, this is we probably covered this 100 times, but
We did.
It's good. It's good to go over because, so here's the thing. I would be willing to bet that like 99% of people on this call right now are holding GDEX, right? And they want answers. You guys want answers to like how are you going to get your money out of GDEX, right?
And
I get
Moon.
I get it, right? I totally understand it. I also have a lot of GDEX, right? Like, trust me, I'm with you guys. I do not want to see
GDEX. You have more than anyone else, Jake.
I 100% do. I mean, I've been buying constantly. I'm not stopped. I'm never stopped. I'm not planning on selling. I still believe it with 100% certainty that it's gonna recover, right? But my focus is not like the whole point of moving to Arbitrum and going to this deflationary model instead of inflationary.
Is not GDEX price.
It's not not even GDEX price. It's like not even GDEX at all. Almost like the thing is, like we don't. You're right. We don't have inflationary measures to make it attractive, right? We did that, and that was like the money market. That was DexFi, right? I mean, it just doesn't work. Like even Uniswap, the Uni token is off that model, right? Like it just doesn't work anymore, right? What I will say though is that what we do have is a really good product, multiple products that are really good, right? We have real yield revenue coming in. We have a treasury that's earning real yield that makes, that's earning, right? And we have this vault system that also is now earning and, that's now constantly buying GDEX, right? Through our vault systems, right? So, I mean, yes, when we move to marketing, I will spend some time, like I said, with DeFi Llama and CoinGecko, and I'm not saying there's not maybe more we could do, some lower hanging fruit to.
You'll slowly clean up stuff as it's appropriate,
right? Or even, I think even just early. I mean, I'm going to devote some resources to making it as clean as possible, right?
Absolutely.
But at the end of the day, if we have TVL, right, if we have TVL in in the vault in our products, right, then
everything else takes care of itself. It takes care of itself.
GDEX is going to be just fine, right? Like back to the question about having an ETH pair, right? Like, sure, we could have this ETH pair, right? And that's great, right? But what's even better is having a vault with like a couple $100,000 of, 50% blue chips and 50% GDEX. Correct. That like every day is just buying like 1,000
drives GDEX, right? Yep.
Put it this way, like even just like our revenue from like 3 months ago, right? So 3 months ago when base was going, bonkers and the market was up 50%. I mean, here's the other thing too.
That was like 6 months ago.
Yeah. Right. Probably 6 months ago, 5-6 months ago, right? But like, I think I mentioned this the other day. The market's down. Like most. I mean, we're finally coming back now, right? But like, 6 months ago, right? Honestly, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, right? Before some of the kind of our some of our bigger holders, we had 2 or 3 bigger holders exit, right? Before that, we were still on the incline, right? Where the whole market was still was just getting torched, right? GDEX was probably overbought at that point. It was probably and a lot of it was the treasury buying, right? So now we're down like maybe 70% from the highs, right? But like so is like ETH is down 40-50%, right? Like render is down 70%. Like now we're just in line with the rest of the alts, right? So, and again, we're not completely tied to like ETH or the rest of the market, right? Which I think is a good thing overall. But like I said, rather than maybe pairing with ETH, to forcibly drag it up and down, right? If we just keep adding to these treasury vaults, where it's not one to one, it's not a direct correlation, but the yield is also just always buying. It's like it creates this like up only type of scenario, which obviously is not, people are going to sell, it's going to go down, right. But long term, it's just going to keep building and buying,
It's I hate to be master of the obvious.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, fees drive the revenue share of the GDEX that you own. What drives the fees is TVL. And so, I mean, it really is, it's no more complex, no more simple than that. And so the reality is, as we add and expand to more chains, to more wallets, more users, right? More LPs, more private partnerships where it's appropriate, hence the institutional aspect that you mentioned on the roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
As we expand to that, TVL grows. TVL, with more TVL is more fees. With more fees is more ability to buy protocol-owned GDEX, more revenue share, which makes people want to own GDEX, which means it makes people want to buy and hold GDEX. It's very simple, right? This isn't a complex equation.
Yeah,
So this is probably why I'm going to go out on a limb. Maybe I'm the second or the third largest holder. I'm just going to go out on a limb. I don't know. I mean, Treasury's one, Jake's second, or maybe those are flipped. I don't know. But I'm somewhere in the top 5.
For sure.
And this is why I believe in the platform and why I'm here and holding so much across multiple wallets. Because, and guys, I mean, we're talking, I hold a significant amount because I believe in it. I know what we're capable of. But we've got to grow the TVL. And that means getting creative. It means expanding to chains like Jake's shared and talked about. It means expanding to LPs. But it also means taking this to market in ways that are not what we think of as degen or DeFi investors. And that's why on the roadmap that Jake has, he's talked about the institutional aspect. He's talked about, we didn't talk about DexFi, but it's on there. There's things that we need to roll into that will take time. This will take development effort. It'll take revenue, right? Diverted to those for us to get there. So anyway, I throw that out because it's going to take time. So we're not necessarily focused on GDEX price today. Believe me, no one more than me, being a large wallet holder or several wallet holders, believe me, no one wants more than me or Jake to get weekly, daily, monthly payouts of significance. But now is a time where we've got to pour on the marketing. We've got to pour on the partnerships in the right way that grow TVL, because TVL grows fees grow payouts and APR. That's the net of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll even kind of expand on that a little bit too. Like, so one, the price of GDEX, let's think of it as like a lagging indicator, right? Because the market, let's say tomorrow we wake up, right, and ETH's back at four grand, right? That doesn't mean GDEX is going to be at back at 40, right? It doesn't. It's going to take time, right? But if if ETH is back above 40 tomorrow, let's say, God willing,
ETH above 40,
above 4K, right?
Okay, there we go. Thank
you. If the market gets back to the previous highs, right? Local highs, that means that all the assets in those vaults are also going to jump, right? Like pretty much, 70%, 80% probably of the pairs are like tied to ETH, outside of the stables and stuff, right? So like to put this in perspective, right? Again, 5-6 months ago, right, when ETH was at 4,200, sorry, our fees, our DEX style revenue was up in the 10K a week, right?
Wow.
And so at 40, I think maybe our APR maybe topped at 12, 13, maybe 14%, right? At 40, right? So put it, if you scale it down, right? If we if we get back to the highs, right, and assuming there wasn't big exits, right? So I mean, maybe some people left, some people didn't, but let's just say the TVL is just going to naturally, even there's $1 million on base chain right now, right? So if ETH doubles, that means all the alts triple, maybe quadruple. That puts us back. If we get back to, let's say, just like the 10K a month, 10K a week that we're earning, that puts our APR, especially now with GDEX down, that puts our APR back at 40, 50% maybe. You know what I mean?
Oh, geez.
That's respectable for
huge
for a real yield product. So
yeah, right.
Even without the treasury buybacks, without the treasury, the treasury vault, kind of adding some, just by sheer people come in, they like the products, we're starting marketing, people like it. They say, oh, okay, I want to earn a part of this, and I want to buy some GDEX, and I'm earning, decently on a real yield product, so, it's all going to kind of come together, I think, at the same time.
Absolutely. Okay, let me see if there's just a couple more questions that are burning. I know we're at the 90-minute mark. Okay, I want to be sensitive to your time and Gannon's time. Okay. Question from Kevin at Launchwell. What about appointing someone to improve team investor communication?
Oh, I love that. No, I think I think that's what we're doing tonight, yeah. Like that was, again, like at some point, we didn't cover the DAO stuff. Well, that might be a different discussion. At some point, I would like to start kind of offering more things to the community to vote on, and I think that's a good model in general. I mean, like I said an announcement. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still planning on running this, until we get to the point where, it is more self-sustaining, and the types of votes can be more geared towards progression of existing stuff rather than, major movements and things like that, right? But I think, yeah, I mean, I do think communication is good in general, and things like this, like having Biophonk come on tonight is awesome. This is definitely one of the more fun AMAs I've had in a long time. Sitting here with a cocktail, just shooting the shit. I'm never like, I'm super transparent. I'm happy to talk to any one of you guys at any time, but it just does get a little bit repetitive, and it's a little boring. Just keep answering questions in Discord. So
can I say my piece? Because I'll be honest with you, with all the hoopla, I'm in Texas, hoopla. So with all the hoopla that was made in Discord about voices being heard, and I'm just gonna give thanks to the folks that are on the YouTube. We have Adarsh and Silverbacked, and we have someone with EMP money. I don't know who that is, but
looks like
we have Newbin Gear. I look at the names and I know these names. I know these folks from Discord that attended, and I just want to say thank you. But where are the other folks, right?
Sure. I mean,
so I realize we have some time zone differential, so I don't mean that to slight anyone, but I'm sure there's enough people that we did overlap time zones where they could attend. Oh, hey, there's Bachman. He just said great stuff, guys. Yeah. Thank you, Bachman. And I almost met up with Bachman in California one time.
Yeah, very cool.
But I got to tell you, do you mind if I share our history a little bit, Jake?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I've met Jake, and Jake's as real and as sincere and as legit as they come, and as professional as they come. I mean, the reason why I'm here is largely because of Jake's his qualities as a person, as a human, and that's why I'm here, right? He truly does have integrity. He has a personal brand and some history here that is way beyond my capability, but I understand it. So, and I respect it. So anyway, I would just tell you guys that, and I think that's why a lot of you are here, is Jake is sincere and real, and he's sincere. We've all been burned in crypto, but this guy is just salt of the earth. So I just got to get him out of MVP mode, right? Because we're always in build mode, and I feel like Q4 of 2024 is we are finally not in MVP mode. Let's get the fuck out of MVP mode and let's market it. Like, I'm ready to market. Jake knows I'm ready to market. I'm a sales guy. I'm ready to market. Let's go, Jake. LFG, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, honestly, I was very kind, and I got nothing but amazing things to say about you as well. And also, it's one of the reasons why this was a nice, very easy for me to jump on. Like you said, we met a couple times in person. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you got my DMs. I jump on a call with you every once in a while just to explain stuff. If you got questions.
Yes, sir.
And like I said, I think this was a great first kind of community AMA. I understand there's some time differences and stuff, but again, I think I'm happy to sit down.
Mm-hmm.
As long as I don't gotta pre-rehearse, pre-rehearse kind of like I'll shoot from the hip. I got nothing but transparency.
That's all we did tonight, right? Shoot from the hip.
That's what I'm saying. And I guess let's keep it open-ended. Like
purple top, baby.
You'd like to come back next week or in a couple weeks, maybe bi-weekly. If the time zone's not great, we can go later or earlier. anyone else wants to join in, I'm happy to sit down and just kind of have a discussion. This is not only easy for me, but I think also, um, you know, on the more standardized, we can get through some questions, but I think it is good to have a community, representative, 1, 2, 3. We're happy to have more people on. Maybe it's a little more genuine. It's easier, maybe more personalized discourse. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Hey, do you think we're ever going to attend some pretty large industry standard events? I know you and I have done Consensus in Austin, Texas. Do you see anything else that's worthwhile for us? Token 2049, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, also, I guess let me go back to your last comment too. And I even messaged you the other day. I said, look, I'm done building. Like, we're builders, so we're always going to keep building.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole point, I kind of started with the roadmap, right? But the whole point was, I don't want to keep doing little stuff and bigger or little big, whatever it is. I want to really get to this point where after, in Q4, where we can just really just check off, like, have a product that we're really proud of.
Yes, sir.
And it seems like it's been a long time coming, and it has been. But like, we started with something that was really great in practice or in theory, right? But in practice, we had some hiccups, and now we're at the point where if it works, man, it's really good. Now we just got to make it user friendly, make it intuitive, make it so people can use it. But I'm on the same page, man. I want to get through over this hump and really just focus on the marketing, and it's time for us all to make money. I've been footing a lot of the bill too, so I'm not I'm not trying to be in the hole forever, so that's first of all. As far as like trade shows, I mean, even before DeFi, I've done I know you've done a ton too. I've done a lot of the trade shows, non-DeFi. I've had booths.
Mm-hmm.
We've done, I've circled around some of the DeFi, the DeFi type of events. I'm not opposed to it. I think we need to be a little bit further ahead. I don't know. There's most of the time there's mostly the big players there, and I think a lot of times it's more for, like, there's not a whole lot of like B2C, like customer outreach. A lot of times it's just to get in front of the bigger names, and you make those connections, right? Right now it's not, maybe, I think if we're going to buy a $5,000-$10,000 booth, I think that money's better spent into like paid ads or other streams of marketing. Right. Yeah, at some point, once we kind of break through that, this constant development, and we're sitting on products and we're looking for a major expansion. I mean, I'd circle back to it.
I think what you're saying is if we have a product, and then like DexBank, if we have a product that's more mainstream, that makes sense for us to, obviously target and cater and attend those type of events, that might make more sense, right? But we have to get to that point, and right now we're not ready for that.
Well, and also I think also, like, for example, if we had the UI some months ago, I mean, it takes time. I'm not saying anything, but it would have made sense to go to, let's say, token 2049 with all the new UI and everything new,
Right.
But right now, yeah, I mean, you cannot go with the old stuff. So it would make sense, for example, even if we don't have DexBank next year, it would make sense still if we have a decent size to go to token 2049.
Absolutely. It's funny. I've talked to Jake. We were even looking at hotels remember that, Jake, for token 2049, comparing notes. So
yeah,
I'm with you 1,000%, Gannon, that when the time is right, I know we will all be there with bells on. And even though I'm not a team member, I'll be there to support the platform and the solution, So yeah, I'll be there regardless, on my own dime.
Let's be there next year, man. Let's meet there, because I'm going for sure next year. I have a lot of friends that have gone this year. Because
me too. Bring it, don't sing it. Let's do it, bro.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Jake, is that a wrap? I mean, look, I think I've covered most of the key points. There's a couple, I'll be honest with you, for the community that I didn't ask. Kevin, forgive me. Some of them were yours, but for the most part, I hit the highlights and the important ones. Anything else, if we did miss them, we've been 90 minutes now,
Yeah,
a little over actually. If I did miss them, please put them back in Discord, and I have no doubt that Jake will address them and answer them to the best of his ability.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think we covered a lot tonight. Obviously we killed a little bit of time going through the roadmap and some of the bigger ticket items. Let's keep this an ongoing thing. We'll get something scheduled the next week or two and hit anything else we didn't get, and maybe you guys can take from what you heard and see if there's anything else you want to add to it, and we'll keep going. We'll have more updates.
Hey, win Vegas, bro. What was it? What was the TVL number we need for Vegas?
Yeah, I've said for a long time, 100 million TVL. I'm renting out. I'm renting out one of my clubs.
The DexFi party on Vegas.
Yeah,
that's it. That's
how it is.
Yeah, I think Jake said it was on his dime or something. I don't know. I mean, memory's foggy, but
yeah, I'm like I said, 100 million TVL. I'm kicking in for a big party in Vegas. Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you, Jake, for being really cool and gracious, especially with some of my questions that interrupted you. But I appreciate that so much. And Gannon, man, awesome. Really appreciate you joining us as well. Thank you so much. And I just appreciate the opportunity to join you guys.
Oh, man, thank you for coming, man. I'm about ready for a refill on my cocktail, so it's good timing.
All right, fourth cup is a charm. Let's do it.
For sure. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back again this time next week or two, and stay tuned for updates.
Gambe means down it, chug it. Later.
Later.
Take care, guys.